And we're live. Welcome everybody to Crafting Chieftains. This is Jason Blewett here on Primal Man Project. Tonight we'll be talking about the things that I've been using and have used and the things that I've learned to create the business that I've created in the Primal Man Project. So I'm really excited. I'll be sharing the 12 most important lessons that I've learned on my journey to creating a coaching business, creating a social movement, and creating just a business that has actually done really well and has created abundance for me in my life. So tonight I'll be going through what Crafting Chieftains really is about as a program, but really I want to add value. I want to make sure that everything that I'm sharing here tonight is going to create real value in your life. And so who am I speaking to? If you are a coach, if you are a content creator, if you are a facilitator, I'm talking to you. If you are feeling stuck, if you're feeling you don't know what to do next, if you're feeling like you've got a bunch of beautiful ideas and you've done training as a coach, maybe even you're thinking about stepping into a career as a coach, I have come on a really incredible journey in the last 12 months. And this is really about sharing what I've learned. So I'm really excited to be sharing with this in the context of the container that is the Crafting Chieftains program. The presentation tonight will go for about 90 minutes. And what you will get from this program, from this presentation is you'll understand who am I to be able to give this presentation. I obviously need to earn the right to give this to you and to convey to you what I've been able to learn so that you know to listen to what I have to say. I'll be sharing definitely a lot of mistakes. I've fucked up a lot in creating this business and this movement, and I really hope to share those things with you so that you don't have to do the same. I obviously will have to show you the success that I've created in order to earn the right to speak to the topic, and I'll be taking you through really what I've been able to achieve. And as I mentioned, the 12 most important aspects or the most important lessons in creating a coaching business and a social movement in the Primal Man Project. And finally, the presentation will go through the program of Crafting Chieftains, what it actually means. I'm going to be giving you as much value as I can in the next hour and a half. So I'm really clear that that's going to be an end in itself. And what I really want to do is just continue to give value to people, to share what I've learned, and that you'll understand what it is that I'm conveying to you and how much deeper it can go into in the Crafting Chieftains program. We can only cover so much in an hour and a half, and I've really jam-packed this presentation full of value. So I'm going to kick on. And who am I? So I'm going to come off the slides. So for those who don't know me, Jason Blewett is my name. I'm a transformational coach. I founded a movement called the Primal Man Project a little bit over a year and a half ago. And the Primal Man Project is about helping men live happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives, and by returning to our design. The idea in the Primal Man Project is that we have lived as humans for a really long time, and that's a great design. We did a really good job of living with our environment and actually living very well. The research says that Paleolithic and Neolithic humans actually lived a lot longer than we thought. They actually lived really long, healthy lives, and they can tell that from dental records. So the philosophy in the Primal Man Project is that we've gone a long way from that design, and we're not living like that anymore. And so in and around that idea, I've created a movement that supports men in returning to that design. And what that looks like is retreats, men's circles, transformational programs, and one-on-one transformational coaching, as well as a beautiful tribe of people who get to do life together. And so that's who I am. That's what I've created. That's a little bit about an introduction for me, my journey. So I had no idea in my coaching journey when I started. I had done coach training programs to learn how to become a coach, but I had no idea how to find or attract clients to work with. So I knew that I wanted to work with men and I wanted to transform their lives, but I had no fucking clue of how to find them. And I didn't know how much to charge. I didn't feel comfortable selling to people because I didn't believe in what I was offering. I didn't value my worth. And I didn't really feel qualified to coach or to do what I'm doing now for a long time. And if I had been able to give myself this advice before I started, I think I know I would have had a much easier ride. So really my intention here with this presentation tonight, the live that I'm sharing here with you, is if you are a coach, if you're considering getting into a career as a coach, I really want to give you as much of what I would have loved to have heard a year and a half ago. And that's what we're here tonight to do. So what did I realize? What were my key learnings about what I didn't do well? So what were my mistakes? I didn't do the inner work. So I started coaching really early, and I got blocked really often, a sense of not feeling worthy to coach. And so I hadn't done the deep inner work to really understand who I was and how I could be worthy to share or to support someone else in their journey. I didn't understand as deeply as I do now myself in order to understand who was I really uniquely speaking to, who was my niche, as they talk about in marketing. But I like to talk about it as my tribe. I didn't understand who my tribe was. I also made the mistake of not having a value. I didn't have an offer that was supportive of people learning and understanding who I was before I was offering something that was of a significant investment. So I made the mistake of trying to enroll people in one-on-one coaching, which was thousands of dollars, and they hadn't really got a sense of who I was, and they didn't know or understand me on the journey. So I've since created a business that helps people to get a sense of who I am in a way that's really easy and approachable. And I'll be talking and teaching you all of that. Basically, tonight is going to be me taking the curtain back on my business and showing you how I've created this movement. And so crafting an offer was what I didn't know how to do. And I didn't know how to create clients. And I'll talk to you about the distinction between client creation and getting clients or winning clients. Some of the old language in sales about getting clients is really outdated, and I don't align with it. So I teach a concept where we can create the possibility with someone. What have I created? So what earns me the right to teach or to share what I've learned? Here are some of my successes. In 10 months, so by December of last year, I had earned a replacement income for my consulting. I had earned an income that replaced my consulting income that took me 10 years to create. So it took me a decade to build up a consulting income in mining, which we know is a very lucrative industry. It took me 10 months to recreate that with a coaching business. There were 247, to be specific, people who attended my online or in-person programs in 2020. So just incredibly grateful to have had so many men and women as part of the community come along to our events. I generated $180,000 annual income at the end of last year, and that continues to grow. I've created an active community who share the results that they get from the work that they do with me. So advertising and promotion becomes less of a focus and more sharing the impact that I've been able to have. And as a result of just learning to swim in this environment, I've created a whole suite of systems and process to allow me to go through really a natural flow in the day with systems and processes. And one of the really key strategies here is I've aligned myself with businesses that have supported my growth. Now, as I move through this, guys, I would love to have your comments and questions. I really want this to be an interactive presentation if I can. So if you're watching on my personal Facebook profile, or if you're watching on the Primal Man Project page, please jump in, please share questions. If there are any coaches out there who are watching existing, please throw in your 2 cents. I really want to hear. If you don't necessarily agree with what I'm sharing, I'd really love to hear your feedback. So please jump in with questions. And really, that's what I've created. It's been an amazing journey, and I've really had to sink or swim. And right now, I'm really getting to a place where I actually have something that resembles some breaststroke, some backstroke. I've actually got a stroke going that I feel like I'm ready to actually show someone else how to swim. So that's the intention for tonight, is to show you what I've learned and hope it's of service to you. And if it is, you might want to join me and we can work together in creating this for you. So let's get down to brass tacks. These are the 12 areas that we're going to be covering tonight. So this won't make much sense to you now looking at them like this, but I just want you to know that we've got a full program. And as I said, this is probably going to cover, this is going to go at least for 90 minutes. This is going to be a really jam-packed presentation of value. So inner work, what is it about us individually? Who are we as people before we start coaching? Before we start offering our, what I say, medicine to the world, before we start singing our song, have we done the work to understand who we are? In understanding who we are, we then understand who we're speaking to. So the niche, as you hear people talk about in marketing, is the really distinct and unique characteristics that you bring as a person to whatever it is you're doing. And it's not necessarily unique to coaching. If you understand who it is that you are and who you can really resonate with, you're going to be able to speak to people at a language that they understand. You're going to be able to resonate with men or women and whoever your niche and your area is, with people who you can really understand and who can really understand you. So the next thing we're going to be going through is crafting an offer and talking about how we do that. It's a really important part of the journey of creating a business, but also just in coaching in general, that we understand how to entice people into joining us, and we do that in a way that's authentic. I do that in a way that gives people exposure to who I am in a risk-free way. So I offer free programs, I offer programs that are low cost, and then I offer programs that begin to make investment into themselves and to our relationship, and we continue to build. And so I'll take you through that process and how it looks for Primal Man Project. Then we get into the secret sauce. So this is really one of the meat and veg of how I communicate, how I conduct my business. So the 4 C's is really something you'd probably call a marketing plan, but I like to talk about it as a value journey. So communicating, cultivating, connecting, and creating possibilities with clients is what we're going through. Sell, then create. This is a concept that that has been just absolutely key for me in my business. So learning to enroll people in what you're creating and sell and creating an exchange, so selling them into a program before you've actually finalized the program. You've created a concept, you've got an idea. We're going to talk about the psychology of effectively throwing the shoe over the fence. So committing something to yourself and getting enrollment before you've created it. Then we'll talk a little bit about the customer value journey. And what that means is the way that somebody gets exposed to you and how they go through a journey to coming to work with you and continuing to be in your community. I just realized we've got a typo here. So we've actually gone above 12. We're actually going to have 13 items. So pain to possibility. This is something that is probably most closely described as the sales process. And I really, again, don't believe in selling. I believe in creating possibilities for people. So that's about the journey. If you are a coach and you are conveying to someone what it is that you can do, you need to help them understand. You need to understand their pain and create a possibility with them. Branding and image. This is an important part of the world that we live, regardless of whether you like it or not. A lot of businesses are based around online and social media. Certainly mine is. And so I'm going to share some of the key lessons I've had from working in and around branding, social media, and image. Then we're going to talk a bit about content creation. It's a challenge for a lot of people to create social media content and get their message out to the world. So I'll share some of my key lessons and some of my struggles. OVO and CTA, we'll get there when we get there. I want to keep that a little bit of a mystery. Tech stack. Holy shit, this is important. I couldn't survive without the suite of software and programs and apps that I use in my daily life and in my business to help to streamline my processes and help to do my job for me. The final piece is really one of the last pieces of the puzzle to come together, which is assembling your team. So this is really where outsourcing becomes key to your genius, and working on getting the advice, the support, and the alignment with not only outsourced graphic designers and videographers, but then aligning yourself in terms of finding your people with aligned businesses. So creating partnerships, and I'll talk about some of the key partnerships that I've created that have helped me supercharge my business. Reese, how you going, brother? Great to have you online with us. All right, so let's kick off. Inner work. This is a beautiful thing that we get to do as human beings, is work on ourselves. And the slide that I have here is an extract, a summary of the program which I teach, which is called The Path. And the reason I show that is that's a program that helps men to really discover who they are and what they want to create in their lives. If you don't have this together as a coach, if you don't know where your life is going, your business will reflect that. One of the really key lessons I've learned is that a business of whatever form is a manifestation of who you are as a person. So your inner world is reflected in your business. So if you're feeling blocked and if you're feeling stuck, chances are there's something going on within you that is holding that back, is holding your business back from growth. You're not clear on your mission. You're not clear on your purpose. You're not clear on your values, or what you're teaching or sharing is incongruent with who you are. So this is the first step that I get anyone, and I will be getting anyone to do in this work in Crafting Chieftains. To become a powerful coach, you need to become a powerful person. And I think it's essential. I think every human being on this planet should have a vision for their life. That's my core purpose, is to help men to discover their purpose. And in the process, we ask ourselves, what is the vision for the life we're going to create for ourselves? And in doing so, who are you going to be on the way? What are your values? Do you want to be a person who's chasing abundance and who really wants to strive to create incredible money and abundance mindset? Then beautiful. But if you're someone who wants to live in sustainability, if you want to have harmony and peace in your life, those two things are going to be really inconsistent as far as it is conveyed in your business and as far as how it shows up in a coaching practice. So understanding your core values is something that's critical to being successful as a coach. And then purpose. If you don't know why you're doing this, you should stop now, because it's not easy. I want to dispel the myth that being a life coach, putting up a Facebook page and calling yourself whatever label you want to give yourself is an easy gig. It's not. I've worked harder in this business than I have probably in the last 4 or 5 years put together. I've had a lot of late nights, a lot of learnings, a lot of heartache, and a fuckload of emotional turmoil, because it's forced me to look at myself more than anything else. So if I didn't have a really clear purpose about what I wanted to do with my life and why I was doing this, I wouldn't be here. So if you want to do coaching, if you want to be a powerful coach, my support to you is get really clear on why. Mission is what follows. Once you understand your why, you get a big what. That is what drives particularly men, but I get that this applies equally to women. What are you here to do? What is the big thing that you're going to be out to achieve in your life? Stephen Kotler, in his book, The Art of Impossible, talks about it as a massive transformational purpose. Kerwin Ray talks about it as a big, hairy, audacious goal. I talk about it as a mission. What is it that you're here to do? And breaking that down, then you start to look at what your goals are. Once you understand what your goals are, you can understand what your daily habits to support those goals. As a coach, I'm really clear. I am my product. So I'll tell you a story. When I was teaching the program of the path, one of the things that we emphasize in the path is habits and excellence in your daily routine. And I was finding myself really blocked. I really wasn't showing up in a powerful way to communicate about the path to people online. I wasn't interacting. I wasn't sharing the work that I'm doing. And I found myself just really stuck. What I realized was I was actually, my life, the way that I was living was incongruent to the work that I was teaching. So I was teaching about habits, but I wasn't getting up in the morning to do my daily practice. I wasn't exercising and meditating every day consistently. So how this is going to show up for you is if you're not aligned with your inner work, if you're not aligned within yourself, it will show up in your business and it will keep showing up. So my support to you is do the work first. Do the work on yourself to understand at least where you want to go in your life. But know that the journey will never be over. You will never be done working on yourself. So don't hold back starting your coaching career or starting your coaching practice because you're not finished working on yourself. You'll always be working on yourself. But if you have these things, at least, and you understand where you're going, you are a long way to creating clarity and showing up powerfully as a coach. So, what is your story? One of the things that I found when I was getting into my early stage of my career. Hi, Lauren. Great to have you online. When I found my early career, I really felt like I didn't have permission to share my story. I didn't have permission. I didn't give myself permission to be a coach. And what I'm sharing with people who are starting their coaching career now is that your story is discrete to you. And there is something beautiful about what you've been through in your life. Whatever your biggest challenges are and how you overcame them, they are unique to you. No one can take that from you, and you don't need anyone's permission to share your story in service of others. So when people get trapped and stuck around what's the piece of paper and am I qualified as a coach and I need to do another NLP training and I need to do another this and another that, I get all of that. I get wanting to do training and I get wanting to be qualified in your mind to practice your craft. But I can tell you there are the most powerful coaches and the most powerful teachers I know that don't have a single fucking piece of paper. In fact, my teacher has 30 years of experience in men's work and doesn't have a qualification, doesn't have a letter after his name, but he's the most powerful coach that I know. So this is a recipe. Finding who you are and creating your niche is a recipe for understanding your unique journey, your experience in life. What do you love to do? What are the things that light you up? What are the things that you're good at? Melding these things together and you create this beautiful distinction called your niche. Maybe you've come from the construction industry and you're a woman and you speak really well to men and you understand men, and men find that they can really talk to you because you're female. That's one of the women who'll be starting with this program the next time it starts. So what if you're a detective and you ask really good questions? And what if you've come from the police and you have an incredibly inquiring, a powerful mind, but then you also have a cultural background that's really interesting and colorful, and you combine those two things? And what if you're interested in horses? What if you are someone who wants to use equine therapy in your coaching practice? What if you are a mum and you really are passionate about creating a space for women to be supported, and you believe that women should breastfeed wherever they want, and you believe that the things that you've been through in your life are supportive to other women on a path? You are a unique and beautiful individual, and for you to put those things together along with your greatness, that is a recipe for understanding how you can show up and create something really unique as a coach. Okay. Once you understand your niche, once you get who it is that you are and the things that you love and are good at in the world, you can understand who you are going to resonate with and speak to. Your avatar, which is a marketing terminology, talks about the person, the archetype of the person that you are speaking most powerfully to. Who is the person who is going to resonate directly with the things that you've been through in your life, the things that you can uniquely speak to? Defining that with the most specificity that you can is a really powerful way to get clear on who you're speaking to. For me, my avatar is a 28-year-old man. His name is Christian. He is overweight. He's unhappy. He's unfulfilled in his life. He's been very successful in his career, and he owns a law firm. And he's been through successive relationships and drives a sports car. He has a property on the river in Noosa. This is a man who he's got everything in life, but doesn't know what's missing. This is a fictional character that I'm speaking to when I talk about the things that I practice in the Primal Man Project. When I talk about getting out of the box and letting myself free from a cage that I've created for myself, I'm thinking about that man. So if you can articulate yourself in a way that says you're speaking to that person, you're going to resonate really powerfully with the people who you can connect to. And the message that you share in your coaching practice, the message that you bring in what you're sharing online and how you show up is going to really resonate deeply when you are speaking directly to that man or that woman or that person in whatever form and format. So get really specific about who you're talking to. What are their biggest challenges? What are they being kept up at night by? Where do they hang out? For me, I'm also speaking to myself 5 years ago. I was a guy that was overweight, unhappy, unfulfilled. I had a marriage breakdown and I had successive unsuccessful relationships. And I was using alcohol and other things to stave off the unhappiness in my life. I know that I can speak directly to myself and say, you need to work on yourself. You may not realize this, so I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you understand. So in that way, I have a powerful way of communicating because I'm speaking directly to the person who I know needs to hear it most. So when you understand the pain that your customer avatar is going through, it's important to speak to what you are doing that can help them. I want to take you for a little drive now, and I'm going to hope to make this work. I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to shut those down, and I'm hoping, great, you are seeing my screen. What I'm showing you now is the events that I have as part of the Primal Man Project. And what I'm going to show you is that each of these events conveys the features and benefits of what it is that I'm offering and why it's of benefit to the man that I'm speaking to. So here, the first thing we do in my event is I speak to someone's pain. Are you feeling burnt out, stressed, disconnected, lacking direction? And I have every right to ask these questions because that is how I feel. This event, which is called the Sharpen the Spear Retreat, is one of my programs. I run it every 6 weeks. This man facing out toward the waterfall is the man that I'm seeking to become. I genuinely want to look that jacked. I resonate powerfully with this image. I connect with the idea of going away in nature to work on myself. So I'm speaking to my avatar. I'm speaking to the pain that that person has because I know that pain. Speaking then to an inspirational statement about what it is that I am asking him to resonate with. I'm really clear about what it is, the benefits that he will get out of this retreat. What have other people said about this retreat? What are the results that other people have gotten? What is the format for what we're going to be doing? And then I close with a powerful call to action, a CTA. Follow the link to purchase your ticket now and claim your place on the spear. This is a great example of a features and benefits summary of an event. There's nothing incongruent about this. There's nothing salesy or manipulative about it. I'm clear. That's where the retreat is. This is what we're going to be doing. This is what other people have actually said about this event. This is what you're going to get when you come on it. This is how much it is. This is when it is. It is all clear. So in that way, when we're speaking to our customer avatar and we're speaking clearly about features and the benefits, we can convey exactly what it is that we're offering and is exactly what it is they're going to get. So, features and benefits. Ensure that everything that you're communicating, both in terms of your conversations with your potential clients and in your sales and marketing material, convey the idea of what it is that you're doing, along with the features and the benefits. When you understand who you are speaking to and what they are challenged by, you can better serve them. So I hope that's starting to make sense. Guys, I'm going at a pretty quick pace because we've got a lot to cover, but I want to check in. I want to ask, how is everybody feeling about the presentation so far? What are some of the things that are resonating for you? And drop some questions in the comments. I would really love to hear that there are some people online. I've got about 5 people here watching live. And if this is landing for you, what are your customer avatars? Have you worked out who you're speaking to? What have you heard so far that's resonating for you? I'd love to hear from you. So once we've understood who we are, we can speak to the avatar of the person who we're resonating most powerfully with. We understand that their pain will be addressed by the things that we are doing. We then get to create an offer. Acknowledging the typo there, it's 4, not 3. What will you do that will serve your avatar most? Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate your question. I need to redo my events for sure to add a little more in. Great. Thanks, Lauren. I'm glad that you've got benefit from that. A couple of things about the event text. People love emojis, so don't hold back on them. They might feel a little cheesy, but they help to break up the images. The other thing that I'm going to take you back that I like to do in my event copy is to use some capital letters. So don't be afraid of creating some bolder sections in the text. As you can see, a good set of bullet points is always something that helps to visually break up the copy, and making sure that you can specify what it is that they'll get, the feedback. What's the day about? Create some space in the languaging and the words. But thank you, Lauren. Appreciate that feedback. And coming back now to the presentation, and we're going to talk about crafting your offer. Man, this was an area that I really learned a lot from even in the last 6 months. I made the mistake when I first started of not having introductory offers. I would try and take people from a one-on-one meeting straight into a multiple thousand, like a $2,500 coaching program. So I really want to convey the importance of having pricing and having an offer that brings people in a way that gives them an opportunity to see and experience you, to make a decision based on the level of investment they're happy to make at the time, and to bring people along a journey. I'll be taking you through what that looks like. A lot of people call this a pipeline. I'd like to talk about it in terms of a journey, a value journey. Lauren, other question that you've got there is, do you put events on Eventbrite or other ticketing websites or just Facebook? Great question, Lauren, and we'll be getting to address that question toward the tail end of the presentation when we get to tech stack. So 100%, yes, I do use Eventbrite, and I also use Facebook. And I'll be giving you a full tour around both my Eventbrite and my Facebook event pages. So thank you, great question. Keep the questions coming, guys. I really want to add value to you here, and the best way for me to do that is to respond to things that you need, as well as what I believe what I believe is important. Thank you, Taylor, for acknowledging that you are online. Great to have you, and Ben. And thank you for saying you resonate with it. Drop some specific questions in there for me. Okay, what is it that you will do that will most serve? So for me, I started with one-on-one coaching and men's circles. The challenge I had with that was that I was trying to jump people from a free service into a premium service. And I found that I would have conversations with people and they would say, yeah, okay. And there would be some hesitance because it was just something they were ready to invest in the way that I was expecting people to be ready. So since then, I've developed a full suite of programs and offerings that help bring people along a journey. And that's what I'm going to be conveying to you in the next slide, is take you through what that looks like. So once you've actually crafted an offer, so you might be doing one-on-one coaching, you might have created a group program, you might be doing circles, you might be doing in-person events, whatever that is, be ready with what the pricing is for each of your events. Be firm about that. Be clear about that. You have a value, and valuing yourself is one of the most important things that you can do in the first stages of your coaching journey. I remember for myself, one of the things I got trapped with is giving my time away. I believed it was good practice. I believed it was, a good thing to be doing to give my time away. Fucking stop that right now. Stop giving your time away. Even if it's a small amount of exchange, even if it's a value exchange, which I can still feel I've tried those value exchanges, graphic design in exchange for coaching or videography in exchange for coaching. I find people don't value what they don't pay for. So put a price on it. Whatever it is, you can probably double it. Price to encourage. What that means is I don't encourage people to do one-off sessions, because I know for myself, if I want to create incredible change in someone's life, the longer that I work with them, the better. I find a sweet spot is a powerful 3-month period of time. I find that I max out at about 9 months in terms of keeping potency and impact with one person. I generally find that people taper off in energy, and they also find that they want to go and do things on their own and create different outcomes for themselves in different ways. So for me, it's a 3-month program. After the 3-month program, in terms of one-on-one coaching, I'll take you through what my offer and value chain is. But after 3 months, I've been able to have an incredible impact. If I have a one-off session with someone, I just am not going to be able to impact the kind of change in that person's life. So I price that one-off is disincentivized. And I price in a way that assumes they would want to do incredible things in their life and that they would want to be involved with me over a 3-month period. So that's what price to encourage means. Don't price yourself on a basis where you're being compared as a coach to a psychologist or a counselor or a person who offers hourly rates. You are not charging by the hour. You are creating outcomes for people. That's something that I'm really clear about for myself. When people look at the investment amount and they do an hourly rate, they create a scarcity mindset and they create a limitation and a comparison. And I really encourage you as a coach, do not allow yourself to be drawn into a conversation where your dollars per hour are discussed. You want to create a conversation based on the possibilities that you've created in someone's life. And I'll teach you how to do that. So that's how we talk about crafting an offer. I encourage you to practice saying your rates out loud. Once you've decided what your rates are per hour or for 3 months or for the 6 weeks, whatever your programs are that you've decided to create, Practice that number. Say it in front of a mirror. And when you tell the client it's an investment, your investment is say the number and then nothing else. It's a strategy that was taught to me by someone else in the world of sales and marketing. And what they helped me to understand is that if we speak after we tell people how much we are going to be exchanging for our programs, it's as though we're continuing to try and sell. As a coach, I know I've created powerful outcomes for people in their lives. They've completely changed the direction of their lives. I'm really clear on my value. Become clear on yours. Say your investment amount, say your price for your program, and then remain silent. And allow the client to speak. Then you can discuss whatever comes up for them around how much that investment is. Some of the common things that I hear, that's expensive. I don't say anything. I allow people to express what it is that they are, what's coming up for them. A question you might ask in response to that's expensive is, compared to what? If someone hasn't taken coaching before, they may not have a reference point for how transformative that can be for their life. So once again, you're in a mode of comparison to something else where they think about dollars per hour. If you've gone through the program, the process, which I'll be teaching in step 7 about how to go from pain to possibility, they will understand the value of what it is that you're offering, and you'll have done your job well. So I'll move on and teach you about that when we get there. But needless to say, the key point here around this is when you craft an offer, be certain about what it is, price it to encourage people to engage with you more, and practice it. Here is an example of a mature value journey in terms of the pricing of the programs that I offer in the Primal Man Project. I'm going to check in and see how everybody's going, if there's any comments. Taylor says, we are talking about Ben's journey as your customer earlier today and trying to identify customer journeys for our own products and people. Great. Yes, I can give that example and talk about how Ben Michaels, who is an incredible man and a wonderful brother of mine who's been through my programs, came on a journey. And he came to me as an introduction, someone who was referred to me from someone else, and saw some of my work online. And he then came to the Sharpen the Spear retreat. From Sharpen the Spear, he was introduced to the program which I run called The Path, which helps men to create purpose in their lives. He's gone on since then to create incredible change and a totally new direction in his life. So he's an example of someone who's come through the program and stepped through a journey. And we are absolutely brothers and continue to add value to each other's lives. So I'm really clear that a person can come in and join this process at any stage. I have had men come straight to transformational coaching. But the most common way for people to go on a journey through your products and services is through what people would refer to normally as called the funnel. So starting off, I believe it's advantageous to have an offering that is free, something that gives people an opportunity to see you. Now, this might be the way that you show up on Facebook. It might be a Facebook group. It might be, in my case, a men's circle. So those are the 3 things that I offer men that they are currently getting for free. So I run a men's circle every Tuesday, and people are introduced to that by people who are in their circle existing, or they are introduced to me by our events. And I'll take you through the customer value journey that will give you an example of how someone comes to find me. But once they've decided to engage with me, once they've decided to actually purchase a product, so to speak, or to come and see what it is that I have to offer, this is typically the journey. They come to a men's circle. During the men's circle, I would then have a time in the circle where I would talk about what my upcoming events were. In this case, the next most investment, or the next item in terms of a minor investment, is the in-person circle, $27. The moderate investment is the day-long retreat called Sharpen the Spear. Then we have a substantial investment in terms of the path, which is a 6-week program. And then we have a significant investment, which is the one-on-one life transformation program at $4,897 for 12 weeks. So this is an example of what other people might call the funnel, what I call the value journey. I want to take you, here we go. I want to take you through a typical process flow. This is the customer value journey expressed in a different format, so in a non-linear way, or in a linear way, I should say. So typically, somebody would start their journey here, and they would see me online on one of my online programs, live like this one, or my interview program called Seeking Counsel. They would see who I am and see how I show up online. They generally connect with me on Facebook. So they either meet me at an in-person event or see me online. I'll invite them to be a friend on Facebook if they have liked any of the videos. Generally, and then after I've invited them to become friends on Facebook, everyone who I'm friends with on Facebook gets invited to like the Primal Man Project page. That's a standard practice in Facebook, is that you can invite someone who you are connected with as a friend to like and follow a page that you have, which is a business that's set up. The process that I have is that I then send someone a thank you message. Thank you for supporting the page. I appreciate it. Sometime later, I reach out to that person and say, by invitation, would you like to hear more about what we do? Which is an opt-in. We'll be talking about that later. Would you like to hear more about what we do? So it is an invitation. So first they are invited to like the page. They don't have to. I say thank you. Then they are invited to hear more about what it is that we do. If they say yes to that invitation, they're invited into a phone call. So I would jump on a call between 15 and 30 minutes to connect with a brother who's interested in the work that we're doing. I will typically interact with them on Facebook. I will have a look at their profile, understand a little bit about who they are and whether or not they resonate with what we're doing, and if that person is the right fit for the community that I'm creating. So if they are the right fit and we have a good conversation and we get to understanding that we are compatible with each other, they'll be invited into my free men's circle. During the free men's circle, at the very end of the men's circle, we do what's called holding space for Primal. After we've held space for all the men, where I share for those who are relevant. So only those who are in state will hear about the in-state events and in Brisbane. I'll then ask anyone who's interested to hear more about those events to stay on the call after. So for me, that's another invitation for people who are not interested to hear about what we're doing to not have to hear about it. If you want to come to my free men's circle and you only ever come to my men's circle, that's completely fine with me. I've got no problem. And that's what I offer to the world is the support and the space that a men's circle offers. And if you have something that you are offering to people that is free and it is a way for them to introduce and to know you, do so on an unreserved basis. Don't do so with a salesy intention. I'm really clear. I don't sell anybody in my men's circle. I communicate to them about what's coming up that might be of value. The Sharpen the Spear retreat is on this Saturday. The path kicks off again in 2 weeks' time. And then if you'd like to hear about what that's about, stay on the call and I will tell you what that's about, but only those who are interested. So then those who are interested come along to our next events, and typically when you come to an event, you then go on a journey. So if you come to a first in-person circle, chances are you'll hear about the great results that men have had on the spear, and that follows in the sequence. So when we go on Sharpen the Spear, at the end of the spear, I was always asked, what's next? What else have you got? People have such incredible results from the work that I do at my events. They want to know what more they can do. So my support to you is have something else to offer to people. this is how I've been able to help add value to people's lives, is I have something else that I've created. And it's really powerful. The Path is a powerful program that helps create massive change in people's lives. I have no shame in sharing that on the Spear. Men, if you'd like to continue this work, come with me on the Path. There's no hesitation about that. So have the next offering always ready to go. When you're in a container, have it ready. So that's what the value journey looks like. This now is a really exciting part of my process. I want to help you understand that this is how you create, this is how you bring people on a journey. This is what I call the 4 C's: communicate, cultivate, connect, and create. So that we're clear, inside of create is the paid programs. So this funnel sits inside of this final step. So here, no value has been exchanged. No value has been exchanged. No value has been exchanged. There is a value exchange at the creation phase. So typically, well, in this model, this is how I have been able to create clients. I'm communicating on social media, YouTube, via events which I'm invited to speak at, other people's events which I've aligned to be invited to facilitate and co-present. I'm exposing myself to the world. I'm sharing the message. I'm going on podcasts. I am asking for opportunities to speak to people at their events. I'm asking to be showcased. I am clear about what I have to say in the world, and I'm saying it to as many people as I have an opportunity to say. I speak to people when I'm at the shop. I speak to people when I'm in the sauna. I communicate my message. I communicate what it is that I believe in the world. Typically, this is a one-way broadcast. Typically, this is a platform where you are able to share what it is that you believe in the world. And the most common is social media and online. The next stage in the interaction is where someone responds. They either leave a comment, they like, they hit interested on an event, they share a video, or they in some way interact with you, either in the forum online or at an in-person event. They might come up after an event and say, hey, that was great. That's a cultivation. That now becomes an interaction. There is now an opportunity for you to create, you guessed it, connection. The next phase is to connect. When someone has become part of my Facebook page, someone has liked my Facebook page, they have cultivated the interaction. I've invited them to like my page, that's communicate. They've responded, that's cultivation. That is consent. They have said, I'm interested in what you're doing. I now reach out and create an opportunity to connect with that person. If I'm at an event and someone comes up to me to speak, I now know that is an opening for me to say, hello, how are you going? This is what I do in the world. I would love to have a chat with you about yourself and hear more about you. I'd love to share about what we're doing and see if there's something that we can find that's the right fit for you. This is the connection. So the customer value journey that I showed you before is where there's an opportunity for a phone call. Someone is invited to connect on a call or a coffee, or come along to my free men's circle. I can just put them straight through. If I meet someone at an event and they say, yes, I'd like to come, I put them straight into the men's circle. In either case, this is an opportunity for us to connect. Then during that opportunity, I'm going to be asking for their consent to share about a paid program, either in a one-on-one conversation or in the context of that men's circle. That is where I ask men to commit to a program. I convey what it is that I'm doing. I help them understand what the event's about. I help get an understanding of who they are and what it is that they're looking for. And if what I have is of service to them, we do what is called creating a possibility. It's language that I borrowed from Landmark Forum and Landmark, some of you may know. Creating a possibility for someone is actually getting investment. They've paid for a program, even if it's just the men's circle, even if it's the sphere, or if it's right the way through to your premium programs. When someone invests, they are creating a possibility. And this is where the magic happens. So I'm hoping this is making sense to people. I'm going to check in on the messages here. Guys, I'd love some questions at this stage, just to know that you're still here, we're still interacting. And any questions here about what's maybe not making sense. The 4 C's. This is some of my secret sauce, guys, and I would really encourage you to understand what is in each of these sections for you. What are the things in these phases, which are universal, that are going to be relevant for yourself? For example, you may be a person who is not as confident speaking online or getting up in front of a crowd of people. You might be someone who is better in a one-on-one environment, or you might be someone who is better at an event where you've got an opportunity to connect with a person. Whatever your forum is, whatever the context is, you need to be able to have an opportunity to communicate what it is that you do. It's universal. You need to have an opportunity for that person to then interact with you. That's the cultivation. You need to have an opportunity in whatever format, in whatever forum, in a inobtrusive, low cost or free way for you to say, let's connect. Let's understand what it is that you're actually doing in the world. Help me to understand what's going on for you, and I will help you understand how I can help you. That's the connection. Lauren's got a great question. I've got my first interview online this Sunday night, but in a private group. A bit more safe and private for me to begin sharing. Great. That's great to hear, Lauren. That's a fantastic example of communicating and cultivating and also potentially connecting. If you've got a person who's on your interview who may be a person who you might actually do work with later on, you might be hitting 3 of the 4 in one go. But in any case, you've got cultivation happening already because there's your private group, and you've got an opportunity for you to connect with that person. So that's fantastic. Great work, Lauren. I love your style. It's very cool. I'm a big fan of having conversations because there's such an organic way to create content. Ben Tennyson came on my interview program, Seeking Counsel, 4 weeks ago. Holy shit, we had a fantastic time. So Ben, I absolutely love your work, bro. And yeah, it's just a great example where it's very fluid, very natural. So if you can find ways to communicate in a way that sits inside your genius, that's the best. So the thing that you want to do, maybe you're a musician and you like to play and you just want to record yourself jamming out, and that's your jam. So that might be Ben. Bro, you might be the sort of dude that's just going to put a GoPro right here and just leave it on there for 6 hours while you jam your heart out. I know a man who is a sound healer, and he just puts the video up and he just does his thing and he just streams live for hours and people love it. Whatever your jam is, find it. Don't put a square plug into a round hole. I love having chats with people. So I put people on in my program, people like Ben. We just have mad chats. Now what I'm going to do is splice that content down into smaller segments, and I'll talk a bit more about how to do that later. But this is some of my secret sauce here in the 4 C's. I hope it's of value, and I hope it gives you some perspective that people need to go through this journey in order for you to create a possibility with them. They need to have seen and understood and heard you before you get into a place where you can expect them to invest. Sell, then create. Oh, man, I love this. So before you create a program and go and spend months of your life, thousands of dollars on videographers like I did, validate the idea is going to work first. Okay? So guess what? That's what this is. You guys are sitting right now inside of a validation process. I have not written script word for word the Crafting Chieftains program yet. I have a really clear picture on exactly how my business runs and all the things inside the concepts that I'm going to be teaching. I can talk for fucking hours. And That's really easy for me to do. But before I do that, I'm going to enroll people in the possibility of this program. Then they're going to invest. Then I'm going to progressively create the program as the program is going. And in that way, I get paid to create. If you create a program first, it's unpaid. If you build a program, it may not be something that actually resonates with people. So part of this process here is to sell first and then create. And find simple ways to do that. So I'll give you an example. This video right now, I'm going to be using as a promotional video for Crafting Chieftains in the future. This is a really powerful and value-added video, and it adds a lot of value to people in their practice. But I'm going to be sharing it to people to help them understand this is what the program's about. And this is more of what you can expect from me and the value that you can get. So it's a bit inception here. You're kind of a dream inside of a dream. So sell the program before you create, because you need to understand if people are interested and resonate with the idea. If you go around to people and you speak to them about the program you're going to create, and if they don't resonate with it and you don't get people enrolled in it, it may just not be the right time. You may not have found the right people. You may not have actually spoken to the content that people want to or need to hear. So this is really important before you spend time and money investing in something which may not land for people. Do this first. Throw the shoe over the fence is another thing about this. Lauren's asking a great question. Are you streaming this live from Zoom? I'd love to know how to put my little logo in the corner like yours. Great question, Lauren, and we'll get there in step 11 under the tech stack. Love the questions. Keep them coming, guys. I want to make sure that I get those answered for you as well. Checking in on Ben and Taylor. No, okay, looking good. Thank you, guys. When something's in demand and needed, you can convey it, get commitment. They will then buy and pay for a program in advance to create the course, not the other way around. Okay, now throwing the shoe over the fence is what I was going to talk about. One of the key strategies for me motivationally is if I've made a commitment, if I've put a peg in the sand, as they like to say in Landmark, then I'm going to create something because I'm going to be compelled, particularly when I've made commitments to people, because I really value my word. So use that strategy, promise a date in the future, create a Facebook event for it, publish it, spend 10 minutes or an hour creating a banner in Canva, which is a program I'll show you later. It's not complicated. Put the event in, put some summaries of features and benefits you're going to get from the event, publish it and send it to all of your friends, and then holy shit, you're going to have to actually create that thing. It's a great strategy. It forces my hand. It throws my shoe over the fence every time. Just, yeah. Sell, then create. Customer value journey, acknowledging the typo again on that number. This was one we went through earlier to go through how a customer is going to be exposed to me typically. Okay, here's one that I know a lot of people struggle with. It's called dun 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 sales. We're selling things. Yes, we're selling things. I am going to ask you to pay money for something that is very, very valuable. Me. What's in here is worth more money than you could ever pay me. You're only going to get a fraction of it for a very small investment. I'm really clear about that. You need to be clear about that for yourself. The inner work, the work on yourself, understanding who you are, understanding your niche, understanding your offer, all of these things are really important precursors to getting to this place where you're going to ask someone, do you want to work with me? Telling them your price and then being silent. The process of getting someone to commit to working with you is tough. It really is. But there's a formula, and we teach it in Crafting Chieftains. So I'm going to give you the summary level because that's what we're going to be able to cover in the time that we have. But here's how it works. You need to understand what someone's big challenge is. We've already done that work in understanding the avatar. We've already done that work in understanding your niche and how you speak uniquely to that person's pain. So when you're in a conversation and you have gotten a person to a connection conversation, so you're in a one-on-one call and you're having a connection call, which is what I call, in traditional coaching language, they call it a discovery call. I call it a connection call. So you're in your connection call and you're speaking to this person. When you're trying to understand if you can help them, the first thing and the major thing you need to be focusing on is, what is their biggest challenge right now? Dive into it with them. Understand what's going on for them. Help get to the bottom of where that comes from. What did they experience in their life that's what's showing up for them now? And then really importantly, understanding this bit. What's it costing them? If they are going to be told that you're going to be exchanging thousands of dollars to help to transform their lives, they're not going to do that if they think that their problem is a small issue. And if it is a small issue, thank you so much. And it's really clear that you don't need me. And that's beautiful. And come to the circle, or come to my free events, or let's just go for a coffee some other time. It's clear you don't need what I have, and that's okay. And I've had plenty of those conversations. Blessings. All the best. But if you've got a problem in your life and you need it fixed, and you understand how much it's costing you, it's a different conversation. Because now you're talking about investing in solving the problem. You're creating a possibility for that person, for this issue in their life to be resolved. And that is worth tens of thousands of dollars. I had a man who worked with me one-on-one. Even in the connection call, he delayed selling a property. He procrastinated. And I asked him, what has that cost you in his life, in your life? We worked out it cost him over $100,000 in the difference in the sale price of his home because he procrastinated. That was a conversation that really dropped for him, that he realized the price of my coaching was a small fraction of what the things that he was doing to himself were costing him in his life. Find what that number is for people, because it helps them understand the scale of what it is that you can do to support them. Not because it's a sales strategy, not because it's a gimmicky psychology tactic, because it's real. People have shit that happened to them that cost them a lot of fucking money. Get to the bottom of that. Then you need to qualify if people are ready to invest in themselves. Don't spend an hour on the phone with somebody who doesn't want help. Right up front, at the beginning of the call, I start my connection calls with, I'm calling to talk about what's going on for you and what it might look like for me to work with you. That might be an investment. Is that something that you are considering? Is that something you're willing to consider? So that I understand how I can best support you. Can you help me? Have you invested in coaching before? Are you someone who spent money on personal growth? Okay. Once you understand if they're willing, have the ability, once you've discussed what the pain is that they're going through and how you can help to solve it, have the ability to take their decision to a commitment on the phone. What that looks like is a piece of software, which I'll take you through in Unit 11 in the tech stack. Practice asking the final question. Once you've gotten them from a place of pain and created a possibility where this pain will be resolved, practice asking the question, would you like to work with me? And then go silent and let them answer the question. Got a great question here from David. I'm trying to validate my 6-week pilot program by donation. I've one person interested out of the reach I have. I'm aiming for 5. Do you have any tips to get more attendees? Absolutely, David. Do programs like this. Do a webinar, do a live, talk about what your pilot program is. I also would challenge you about whether you are supporting yourself by not actually having a price on your program, my tip would be put a fixed price. Don't do it by donation. That's basically like giving your time away for free. If you don't have enough people interested based on the reach you have, ask the people in your network to invite their friends to like and follow your page. It's a really simple process. You can Google it, asking other people to follow and like your page. If it is just your Facebook profile, you're working from your private Facebook profile, you can start interacting in groups where people are working on themselves. Start interacting and leaving comments and having conversations with people in places where you get exposure to people who are interested in working on themselves. And the more you communicate, the more you convey your message and what you're about, the more people will see what you're up to. David, just for you, I'm going to take you on a quick tour of what my Facebook profile looks like, because I'm really clear that I'm here to add value to you and not just give you a light answer. I'm going to go to my private Facebook profile. So when you go to my private Facebook profile, just let me be clear, this is my personal Facebook profile. It looks like a landing page of a website. It's really clear I'm a coach. It's really clear I run retreats, and I've got a really clear call to action. Join me on the spear. And when I go to this link, fingers crossed, no. The link is not working right now, so that was a dummy example, but all things being equal, the link will go to the Facebook page for Sharpen the Spear. So if you're set up like this and you're communicating in the world that you are a coach and you're clear about what it is that you're here to do, you will begin to have people interacting with you in other platforms and areas if you're active on social media, and they will see and know you as showing up as a coach. I also really encourage you not to do anything by donation. That's the equivalent of doing things for free. If you would like to chat more about that offline, David, I'm happy to have a chat with you, bro. It sounds like there's some strategies that we can put in place for you to help you get to where you want to go. I'd also love to understand more about what it is that you're trying to achieve and what your programs are about. So yeah, bro, happy to help you, man. Great work for getting underway with the program. And yeah, let's talk some more. But thank you for your question. So pain to possibilities, practice asking, would you like to work with me? I'm conscious of the time. We've got 12 minutes left, so I'm going to be smashing through. Brand. Okay, branding and image. This is a great one. So when you get started, don't get too hung up on what your brand and image is. On the left-hand side is the old Primal Man Project brand. It's really cute now. On the right-hand side is a graphic design version, paid $400. The left one was one I knocked up in an afternoon on in Canva. So David, you've got a follow-on question. Yeah, I hear the donation call. I have a live tonight with a friend on Instagram. I'm just transitioning from yoga teacher to coach right now. Ah, bro. Yeah, I get you, man. Nice work. Take the landing page concept and let's have a conversation, bro. I'd love to chat with you more about how we can support you to powerfully step into this next space. But thank you for being on the live, bro. I really appreciate you being here. Understand that you'll need to invest. This was massive for me. Guys, I'm really clear that we're going to add a lot of value to you guys in the next probably 20 to 25 minutes. It's going to go over. So I just want to flag that right now because I've got a shit ton of cool stuff left to tell you. So sorry, not sorry, because I'm giving you some gold. So when you invest in your business, it becomes real. So that's something that, David, you should be considering, bro. If you are stepping into this space and you want to declare yourself as a coach, put some money behind something. If that's business coaching, a paid program like Crafting Chieftains, or spending money in graphic design. You will get to a stage, and this is week 8 in the Crafting Chieftains program, where I will be asking you to invest in actually creating a brand. So you're going to need to have a name, you're going to need to have an image, something that gives people some resonance to who you are. A couple of cautionary notes. Set your expectations clearly with videographers and photographers. Otherwise, you end up looking like this dude. This was my least favorite photo in a photo shoot that cost me about $800. I didn't convey what it is that I wanted from this guy. He gave me some really interesting products. Some of his other stuff was really, really good, and I like him as a dude. But working with outsourced creatives can be really challenging. And this is something that we'll go into a lot more detail in Chieftains during the program. We spend a whole week diving into how to get your brand looking and feeling like you, where else to put your brand, and how to give it a feeling and an atmosphere that really resonates for who you are. I'm going to take you on a really quick tour of my other brands. I really love branding, so this is something of a geek out area for me. This is my program called The Path. We've spoken about it a couple of times tonight. You'll see in the corner here, I've got a sub brand for each of my product streams. And you'll see here the spear. Again, I've got a sub brand that represents Sharpen the Spear. And here we are with Crafting Chieftains. We have a sub brand that represents Chieftains. And yeah, I just love it. I love the process of branding. I love the psychology of color and the feeling and the atmosphere of a brand. Lauren says, I'm a brand nerd too. I love it, Lauren. You know, the creative process that I went through to design the brand of the Primal Man Project was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And that's an area of genius for me. And so I really got a lot out of it. If it's not something that you're good at, here's something to consider around engaging people outsourcing. You have two ends of the scale. On one end of the scale, you have where you will be investing your time to learn how to do something and how to create an outcome. And then your outsourcing will be cheap, where you've done all the pre-work, or you actually learn how to use software and create it yourself. So it's cheap if you do it. On the other end of the scale is if you are time poor, but you've got some cash, that's going to be where you can invest a little more. And in the journey that I went on in the brand as it stands, this was where I was in my rags to riches phase, and I just wanted to get started. Once I actually started to generate some revenue in my business, I invested in actually having a graphic designer creating the brand. And as you can see, it's a pretty good outcome. It's pretty cool. I love my bear's paw. And when we've got more time, on another time, a story for another time is how I came up with the paw. There's a whole beautiful story behind it. Again, that's what I'll be sharing in the Chieftains program. So you have to join us to find out. Okay, content creation. So I've mentioned it a couple of times already tonight. My interview program is called Seeking Counsel. All of the things inside of my brand are related to tribe and primal. And so I've got my interview program is Seeking Counsel. My private Facebook group is called the Primal Counsel, where you get advice. Well, much more than just advice, but what we are seeking support is Primal Counsel. The men's circle is called the Sacred Circle. You know, my retreat is called Sharpen the Spear. The transformational program is called The Path. And so what I want to convey here is that if you are creating a movement, if you're creating a brand, think about how you can themize everything. Themize what it is that you're doing so people understand straight away. They feel what you're about. They know that the brand has a thing that's unique to you. And I'm in fucking love with my brand. I really love it. I know what it is. I know what it means. I know what it stands for. And when the bear's paw comes up and there's flame and there's drums and there's tribe and it's just fucking man. And so it's really resonant with this idea that we've got an animal. Men have an animal inside each of us. And having a place for him to go and to express that animalistic nature is part of what I want to convey instantly with my brand. So if you think and if you put time and effort into what you want to create with your brand, you can really get an image and a message across really quickly. So take some time, invest in finding someone who can create a brand for you and that you can really work with creatively to create something that really resonates for you. Okay, content creation. So Seeking Counsel is the long form interview. What I'm working on now is cutting that down into smaller pieces where the pieces of wisdom can be shared. This is something that's in progress for me. Another piece of wisdom that a great brother of mine shared was capture, don't create. What this means is instead of putting a camera there and telling the camera this and that, do something in a way where you're actually already capturing what you're doing. So the way I do this is I take images of the food I'm cooking, I take video of my workouts, I capture wisdom that I'm sharing, I take images and photos and videos of the men's circle. So when I do the events, I'm videoing and photoing things as I go. It can be a real pain, a real challenge, not a pain, it can be a challenge to create content if you are staging things. So capture it as you go. That's much more authentic, and it's easier because it'll be in flow to what you're already doing. So doing it in the moment. Find ways to make it easy. I'm going to show you something really cool, and this is kind of a little bit wild. Here's my light. Here's my screen. And here's an ironing board. That's how I am setting this up. This behind me used to be a bookshelf with stuff and doors, and I took it off. Now it's a display. And I've set this whole area up now to do lives because I was going outside and I was getting bitten by mozzies, and I was like, oh, I want to do it outside. Make it easy on yourself and create situations where you've got the gear, where you've got the setting, where you've got the lighting indoors somewhere where you can just jump on live and share what's going on for you. So yeah, do things in a way that come naturally in your area of genius. So Lauren, great, you're doing an interview with a woman and you're doing it inside of a safe container. Thank you. Bless me. And that's beautiful. That's naturally who you are, is to have conversations with women in a safe place. So that's perfect. Lauren says, I've set up on my massage table before. That's awesome. Yeah, adapt, use what you've got. You don't need studio lighting. I just used a lamp for a long time, reflected on my shutters to create some reflection. So if you don't have $300 to drop on a ring light, use what you've got. I had put my overhead lights, I'd put baking paper over the overhead lights to diffuse the lighting because I was getting shiny spots on my head. Now I'm using this, I get less shiny spots. Content creation is something that can be really challenging. So do the thing that it is natural for you to be doing anyway. That's the best support I can give you. I'll be really transparent about this. This is still an area that I'm working on improving in my brand and business. I'm very good at doing present really well to camera, but I still find ways to sabotage myself in this area. So it's a journey. I'm certainly not speaking from a place of perfection. But when I do my Seeking Counsel episodes, people love it. When you can accept that people want to hear from you, it gets easier. As you put content out, as you're doing videos, as you're doing the thing that's hard, people will give you great feedback. And then you'll actually realize that people are getting value from what you're sharing. Ask for feedback. Ask them to tell you, was that valuable? One of the biggest challenges I have is I often feel like I'm speaking to the empty world and no one's there, which is why I get a bit needy sometimes. Make comments for me. So I feel like I'm not on my own talking to a screen. Yeah, so that's it. Content creation is a challenge. Keep at it. Be disciplined. Post about your life. Post about what's going on for you. Capture, don't create. Okay. When you are creating a network of people, a community on Facebook, or you're starting to build your database, it's really important that you understand these two concepts: OVO, which is opt-in, value, offer, and CTA, call to action. So you need to ask people's permission before you're communicating with them if you want them to respond. So what I used to do is just send spam, just messages to people on my personal Facebook profile. I just spam message people about my events. And then I'd go and look back and they'd no respond. They'd open them up and it's like, it was fucked. So my approach now is people who I'm messaging, I have captured that they are following the Primal Man Project page. They have opted in. I invite them to like the page. They opt in. I actually do now a double opt-in. So I go to those people who've already opted in and I say, here's what we do. Would you like to hear more? And I only communicate with those people. So they have opted in. What I then do is create programs, and I create videos, and I create containers and lives and a Facebook group and men's circles. I give value to people who are inside my community. I give and give and give and give. This presentation, an hour and a half. I'm getting nothing for this, but I'm clear that I'm going to help you, beautiful souls, to create your coaching practice and your coaching business in a powerful way. I want you to win. I really do. I want you to know the lessons that I didn't know when I started. And so in that way, you're part of this beautiful community that I'm creating. So value, opt in, value, and then at the end of this presentation, there'll be an opportunity to invest in this program. If you want to continue to get value like this presentation is one presentation. I have 12 presentations inside of Crafting Chieftains. If this has been valuable for you, you can invest. That's your choice. But I have it available to you because you might tell me at the end of this presentation, fuck, this is awesome. And I want this every week for 12 weeks. And I'd say, yes, here it is. Let's go on a journey together. So I have an offer for you. That's what the formula is. Ask people if they want to be a part of it, give them value, and then give them an offer. And if they say no, beautiful, blessings. Keep getting the free value. I want you to win regardless. Then we call to action. Call to action should be in every post, in every piece of copy, in every conversation that you have around your business, there should be a call to action. It's great to talk to you. How are you going? I'd love to connect with you. Please come to my circle. Or if you're speaking, so Lauren, with your women's circles, if you're speaking to a man, how is your partner going? What's going on in her life? I would love to have her along to my women's circle. Does she have Tuesday nights free? I'm like that with men. I'm a bit of an evangelist for my free circle because I know that every man needs a circle. And it's like, hey, brother, I'd love to have you in my circle. Or Lauren, beautiful example, sister, how are you? How are you going? How can I support your man, Tim? How can I bring him into this work? And how can we give him value in the world? So that's my way of calling to action in most conversations. Hey, where's it going? How's it going? How do I add value to your life? Here's a support. I have conversations with you, sister, that are just about, hey, here's things that I want you to think about doing in your circles that can help your circles to win. I am giving value all the time. I'm really clear about giving value, but I also have an opportunity for you to join what I'm doing. So here you are, beautiful sister Lauren, and you're on this webinar presentation live now, interacting in what we're doing. So in that way, there's been a call to action because I've invited you. So call to action should be inside your social media posts. Every time you post something, call to action. Leave a comment below if you agree. I'd love to hear your feedback. Join the event. Get your ticket now. Like if you agree. Share this post. Whatever your desired outcome is, call to action. And guess what that does? It gets us past communicate and into cultivate. It creates that secondary piece of interaction, call to action. Okay, we're coming down to the tail end, and here we are at the tech stack. Yes. Okay, this is fucking nuts. I'm going to share my screen with you, and you're going to see the crazy world that I... All right. I'm going to add... All right, we're going to do a browser. So of all of the technology, the most important thing that I operate in is Facebook. Now, I acknowledge we are at 8:29, it's the end of the program, but this is the most important part of the presentation, so please stick around. This is the stuff that you won't get from anywhere else. I really want you to stay. If you stay for nothing else, get this tech stack. So Facebook, when you create a Facebook page, not a profile, you'll get to look like this, and this is where you get to manage your advertisements when you get into paid ads. The key place that I'm interacting here is on my events. I am primarily an event-based business because I run retreats and circles. So here I can see how many events I have in the last 90 days, how many people have been reached, how many ticket clicks. These are all the events that I have coming up. I have all of my events preloaded. Thank you, Beth, for that strategy. That was amazing. I have all of my future events so that if I speak to someone who says, I can't make it to this one, great, let's get you on to the next one. Have them all loaded up in Facebook, ready to go. You can see all my past events here. I create an event for everything. I create an event for seeking counsel. I create an event for the launch of the path. Even though it's a 6-week online paid program, I create an event around it so that it creates buzz. And then I have a presentation and a webinar. It's basically a 6-week course that I run on Zoom, but it's got nothing to do with Facebook. But I run it as an event. I run the kickoff as an event on Facebook. So Facebook events have been the most powerful place of one of the most powerful tools in my business. The next is Facebook groups. So I'm going to let you briefly in here, but it is a private group, so I won't let you go too far. This is called the Primal Council. It has 80 members in there. This is my private container where I interact with people. One of the strongest strategies at the moment for people to share and convey important things that they're doing in the world is to have a group. It's really a powerful place to share in a private way, and it lets people do something that they're about in a way that's discreet. So if you're a coach, if you're someone who's sharing a message with the world, create a Facebook group for whatever it is that you're doing so people can choose to be involved, and then you can interact with them in a close way. And you can learn to know the people in that group so that you're not just speaking to the world at large, you're speaking to people who've chosen to be a part of what you're creating. So that's the Facebook group. Facebook events. I use this tool here, which is inside a very select place inside of Facebook settings to keep track of who's actually joined the page. So this is where my virtual assistant, my VA, takes people who've come onto the page and enters them into my database so that I can keep track of who's part of the community and whether I'm interacting with them. The next most important piece of software I'm going to show you is called MailChimp. Now, this is a entry-level, what we call CRM, so a customer relationship marketing database, or CRM system is where you manage relationships with people. This is something that I've used up until now to capture contact details for people who are either on my mailing list or who have booked a one-on-one meeting. So when someone books a meeting with me via a program which I'll show you, which is called Calendly, their information gets stored in my CRM. I don't have a large database, so this is still something that I'm working on creating. So a relatively small audience of 123 people, and I've got some campaigns going on there at the moment. So I'll go back to the dashboard and I'll show you that we've got an email sequence that's gone out recently. It's showcasing one of the topics that I've covered in my program called The Path, and this is where I can see who's opened the email, who's interacted with it, and I can also just convey what's going on. So this is a really great way to keep track of information about people and then to communicate with them, which I'm doing now more. I'm a bit late to the party around email marketing, but what happens, and what I showed you in the customer value journey, when someone says, yes, they'd like to get some more information from me about the work that I do, I send them to something called Calendly. I send them a link. Calendly is a system that allows you to share your calendar with someone. So as a coach, when you get busy, it's really, really important to manage your calendar. So you send someone a link via Calendly. They then get to see, and I'll show you what it looks like. They'll get to see a screen. They'll get to pick the day and time that you're available. So when they do that, they follow through and they book in. Once they do that, I have what's called an integration. So Calendly, when they've booked a meeting, feeds the information into my CRM, my system called MailChimp, which captures the information of the person who's booked their meeting with me. So it captures their name, their email address, and their phone number. So I can then interact with and communicate with them after they've said, yes, I'd like to hear more information. So that's the third most important piece of software. The fourth most important and again, really critical here for me as an event business is the platform called Eventbrite. So I'm going to increase the size of this now here so you guys can see a bit more. I should have done that before. I apologize. How this works, Eventbrite, for those who don't know, is an event marketing platform. What happens in this platform is that they have their own online community where they show and convey to people events that are going on in the world. And they do that by geography and also by genre. So when someone goes into Eventbrite to see events that are going on in Brisbane, they may come across the Sharpen the Spear event, which is all my men's circle events. And what Eventbrite is really good at doing is it keeps track of who's purchased tickets. You can set it up to share information to them about what you need them to do or need them to bring along to the event, and the ticket sales are then captured. So this event is postponed. So this was the Sharpen the Spear for this Saturday, which because of weather I've had to postpone. So you'll see here that 2 tickets were sold. Okay, and if you go into, don't know where it is right now, dashboard, it will also give you other information like who's accessed the link. And when you're into marketing, you want to be able to see how many people have interacted, how many tickets out of the 15. So for example, if you've got a capacity for an event, like if you're maxing out your event and you don't have time to keep track of everybody, this is an automated way for that to happen. So the benefits of Eventbrite are twofold. It markets your events, promotes it in a platform that's separate to Facebook, and it keeps track of and captures information of the customers who are purchasing, as well as the total number of tickets sold, bought and sold. And you can also manage refunds if things like cancellations come about. So that's probably the next most important piece of software or in my tech stack. Let me come back into my PowerPoint now just to check in on what were the other ones. MailChimp, okay, Square. Square is my payment system. So I use Square as opposed to PayPal or any other service for a few reasons. It's very straightforward to use. It allows payment on the mobile phone or the computer while I'm on the phone to somebody. So it allows me to get someone to commit to and make their decision for a call, for a ticket or for investing then and there, which is really important. Eventbrite we talked about, Trello, Canva, Jotform. All right, so we'll go to Trello. Trello is really important when we get to outsourcing. So I'll show you here, if that comes up, Trello. Trello is effectively a task and event management, is a project management based software. So this is how, as you are proceduralizing your business, as you're capturing the way that your business operates, you'll then be able to enable you to, long sentence, that will enable you to outsource. So I've got procedures here in my business for each of my key events. So what happens before, after the event, and my virtual assistant can go into each of these tasks and they can action them according to when the event occurs. This is really important when you get to scale and then you get to wanting to outsource your event. It's also just a great way to manage your own task list. So keeping track of where things are. My support would be, and I talk about this when I get to the next slide of outsourcing, is do this from the beginning. For God's sake, don't wait till you're outsourcing to get the procedures in your business, because by then it will be a monstrous task. As you're growing your business, document, capture. What are you doing? What are the steps? And just do it a little bit as you go so that it's not a monstrous thing to do when you get to be big enough to outsourcing, which these days is actually not very big because an outsourcing cost is very low relative to how much we earn and make from these businesses. So that's Trello. Really quick overview. It's a really powerful piece of software service, and I really strongly recommend that you use it from very early on. The other one we said we were going to look at was Canva. Okay, great. Canva is an online-based graphic design platform that allows you to create the designs that you'll need. If you want to operate in an online environment, you need to be polished, and you can see that each of my events has a particular look and feel. And this is where I've created the marketing materials for each of the key events. You can see some of my early concept designs for my other banners, and then the different sizes for the different applications. Canva is really powerful in the fact that it has a lot of stock photography, and it allows you to quickly and easily build a really good looking banner with really the key information that you need. So each week when I do Seeking Counsel, I go in, I keep a template of the event, and I customize it with the key themes of what we're going to be talking about in that episode, but I keep the overall structure and layout the same. So again, Canva is a great service to use. It's not very expensive, and it really allows you to quickly and easily produce social media content and advertisement banners and marketing material that's attractive, professional looking. And yeah, it's been one of the key tools for me in my business. And what else did we say? LinkedIn, Instagram, Jotform. Okay, Jotform is a good one when you've got information that you need for people coming along to an event or something that is, I even got the link here. No. Give you an example. No. I'll lose you guys here. Jotform. Jotform for me hasn't been a massive tool, but what you can do is capture information from people who are joining, subscribing, coming to an event. So for example, my Sharpen the Spear, and I haven't got it right now, but it is, I do. Okay, great. This is information that I require from people who come along to my in-person event, Sharpen the Spear. They need to provide me with next of kin information, and they need to sign basically a waiver. So Jotform is a really easy way to do that online. So as you start to become more involved in your events and you start to have different things going on, you can set up questionnaires. You can set them up to then also do an electronic signature. I'm also not even using it to its potential. So that's just another piece in my tech stack. Jotform. Instagram, I think most people know about Instagram. LinkedIn, I think you know about LinkedIn. Google Drive and Google Calendar. One of the key things that I would tell myself if I could do my time again is to set up a file structure in a file sharing piece of software or platform like OneDrive or Google in a way that automates from the beginning of when you're creating your business. The reason I say that is as you start to collaborate more with graphic designers, videographers, content becomes something that is a real asset, especially when you've got a large volume of material, procedures, other things that you've developed over the time. You need to have a system for capturing and to sort that asset library in a location that can be accessible other than just on your computer, so that you can send a link to the graphic designer for the high resolution version of your logo. You can send your logo to the t-shirt printer and you can just send him a Google link. You can, or her, you can share and collaborate with documents as you're going to outsource with people, and you can really, it's as soon as there's another person involved in interacting with your business in any way, which for me, it's very quick. It's very soon in your business trajectory, you should have people involved. Your file structure, where you keep your files, and how you organize your digital assets is really important. So get in front of that early. Google Calendar. Holy crap, my business would not function without a Google Calendar. I have Calendly that links into my Google Calendar. Look at and see where I'm available. I'm going to show you what my calendar looks like. And for those who are maybe early in their coaching or not even in their coaching career yet, it's going to be fun. I don't know if there's some crazy confidential stuff in here, but anyway, let's have a look. So I operate my calendar on a weekly basis, and okay, this is a pretty typical day. That's about the level of fullness that I have in my calendar at the moment. And you can see that, managing the spaces in between those appointments becomes really important. Having fixed appointments in my day for myself also becomes really important. As appointments start to roll in at a speed where I can't actually keep track of, well, not keep track, as I'm no longer handling my appointment setting. My VA does that now. So when you get to this stage, having systems in place to manage a calendar is really important. For example, putting places in for lunch. There are a number of days where I don't get lunch because people have jumped in there and booked a spot in my lunch hour. And unless I book that space for myself, I don't get to eat, or I have to reschedule a client, and that's not a great look. So yeah, Google Calendar is an important place to be getting close to. If you don't use Google, you might use Microsoft Outlook or something similar. But calendar management for us as coaches in managing our time becomes really important as you grow and scale. Okay, that's it for the current tech stack. And you, Lauren, did ask me about StreamYard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. This is really cool. This is going to be a real inception moment. Whoa. The screens inside the screens, inside the screens, inside the screens. What I'm showing you is what it looks like inside of a piece of software, a service called StreamYard. StreamYard is how I'm broadcasting this live, and it is broadcasting live to multiple platforms. So you can send it through to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or into private groups as well. And it's really powerful. It's got an ability to add marketing material and information. So I've still got information about the spear that will float across here. And then, Lauren, the question you asked me was about the brand. So here is my logo that I load in. I can change it to the white one. So let's go. That guy's looking good. I could have actually had the logo for Crafting Chief Corner if I was really good and organized. So that's what that looks like. And then I'm going to stop this inception experience, stop sharing, and I'm going to go back to sharing my slides, which are on screen number 2. So there we are. So guys, I've come to the tail end of the presentation for the day. Oh, no, one more. Okay, this is really important. You got to stick around for this. If you guys are still online, if you're still watching, please don't jump off yet. Fuck, this one's important. Okay. I've already talked about assembling your team. I've already talked about Trello in terms of documenting the procedures. So please do that as you go. I really implore you to do that. Outsourcing. It will happen later in the journey compared to where some of you were at, but be prepared in advance. If you capture things as you go, if you document it now, I guarantee you your future self will thank me. So please start that process early. If it's not in your area of genius, do your best to outsource it in an economical way. So what that looks like is understanding where your skill is versus where the threshold is where you'll need to outsource. So for example, for myself, I'm pretty competent as a graphic designer. I had some experience in that space. I'm also pretty competent in tech in general. So I'm pretty IT literate. But where I got to a ceiling was I realized I was getting blocked on things. I wasn't progressing the actions around, for example, registering a domain. I now have the domain name for primalmanproject.org. A website for me has been something that's been a bit of a sore topic. So I've engaged a digital strategist and a guy that can help me to build that now. And I know that I'm going to have to invest. But I've done a great job operating my business without a website. So don't spend 10 grand building a site. You don't need it. Graphic design, videography, photography, tech help. These are things you cannot do on your own. You do need to get help when you get to a size where you want to scale. The final point around find your people, and this is not here on the slides, but it's so important. So I'm going to do a little bit of these ones. Find businesses and people who are aligned with what you're doing and trying to create in the world that you can learn from, that you can partner with, and that will represent and endorse and sing your praises all day, all night. So I have two businesses that I'm really closely aligned with. One, my brother brand, as I call it, is Weapon. Weapon is a men's apparel business that has showcased me and used me as their primary facilitator for their men's circles at their Weapon sessions, which is on this Sunday. If anyone has some space, 7 till 9 on Sunday in the facilities gym, you'll see it on my page. It's amazing. And what Weapon and I have been able to achieve have been greater than each of us would have been able to on our own. We push and challenge each other, and we love and appreciate each other. And the two men who I'm closest with in the world, I meet them every Friday morning, and we call ourselves the King's Council. This was something that I created really early in my business career, and I am so fucking glad that I did. I found men who were aligned with the work that I was doing in the world, and I got on the same page with them, and I worked hand in glove with them, and now we're helping each other to level up. So find businesses that are aligned, not competitive, aligned with what you're doing. Another business that I'm developing a relationship with is City Cave, because I believe in their mission of creating wellness. So Andrew from City Cave was my guest on Seeking Counsel last week. And in that way, I'm going to help support him and send people to him, and he's going to send people to me. We share our databases and we help each other level up. Find businesses that are aligned with what you're doing so you can support and collaborate with each other. That's it. I want to really help you understand that is a summary version of what we're going to be able to cover in 12 weeks. So I really hope that you've gotten a lot of value. Crafting Chieftains is going to be just an epic 12 weeks together. And what we're going to do, if you stick with me and you don't drop off on this call and you send me a message, if you send me a direct message, I will send you the slides. I will give you the slides for this presentation, and you will get access to the full thing only if you stick around till the end. In Crafting Chieftains, we will create mindset magic. There are things that I knew in my mind to be true, but I told myself the opposite, and so I sabotaged my business. I have got a distinction after distinction after distinction that I want to share with other people so that they don't get into the same pitfalls. Turning your passion into purpose to create prosperity is what we're going to be doing together. Harnessing your gifts, understanding how to use what you love and are good at to create freedom and flow, speaking to your tribe, the people who you want to connect with. We're going to help you to craft your medicine. What I mean by that is you're going to create an offer that compels people because it's resonating with what you know in the world and what they know to be true. That's about crafting your medicine, singing your song so your unique audience wants to hear from you. There are a fuck ton of people in this world, and there are a lot of them that want what you have. So in this program, we will do the work to create the things that you want to give to the world. And that's what I'm really clear about being able to share with you all. You get to be part of a tribe. Crafting Chieftains is a group online program of coaches and creators from all over the country. You become part of a group of brothers and sisters who are there to support and inspire and motivate you to greatness. You get access to me via Messenger to help troubleshoot like I did today, like I did with David today, to troubleshoot what's going on for him, to push him a little bit here, to challenge him there, to give him a new strategy. We will create this. We will hand in glove create what you are here to sell to the world and here to give to the world. We do this via a weekly group coaching call, an accountability call via Zoom. Accountability will also be structured into the program. The work that you're creating will be shared with each other. So in that way, you must create it. You can't hide in this program. And it's a method I use in my group coaching program called The Path. I've run 6 sessions now of The Path, and that is powerful accountability. And I run the same philosophy. I'm going to be running the same philosophy in Crafting Chieftains. What you get access to in this program is pre-built systems and strategies to create your business from scratch. I will give you everything that I've created so that you can create it, so that you don't have to create it. I've invested probably closer to $50,000 in business and personal coaching. That's what's gone into the psychology, the mindset, and the way that this business is structured. So I want to give you access to that for a fraction of what it cost me, because I would have wanted this when I was in your shoes. Here's my promise. These are powerful recipes and rituals. They are going to create impact and abundance. If you do the work in this program, if you join us, if you join Chieftains and you do the work and you show up and you follow my process and you don't make back the cost of the program before the 12 weeks is out, I will coach you for free until you do. That's my promise to you. I'm so clear about what this can create for you as a coach. What have you got to lose? Your investment for the pilot program of Crafting Chieftains. This will be the first round kicked off in a group format. This price will not stay this cheap. There are programs which are teaching less that I've seen others pay $10,000 for, because I'm creating access to income generating. I'm creating access for you to create income. $2,897 is an upfront payment option. We do have payment plans available, and I will discuss those with you on a one-on-one basis. That is the end of the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the 4 souls that I can still see online, if they are still with us. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your interaction. I will be dropping a link to my Calendly in the comments so that you can jump on, book a call. Even if you want to tell me that you can't afford it right now and you want to get involved later, I'd love to hear from you. I just want to hear how this presentation was. I'd love to hear what you're creating in the world. I'd love to give you some just support. I want to help coaches to impact the world, because that's now how I can share my medicine, is by helping others to craft and to share theirs. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing the work that you're doing in the world, whatever that looks like. I've been throwing pebbles into ponds. Now it's time for me to pass pebbles on to others, ponds that I can't get to. That's why I'm doing this, is because if I help others level up, and I will serve more people than I could have ever reached in my life. So thank you. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for being on this journey. And thank you for what you do in the world. I am really clear. This is a beautiful way that we all get to create a better world. Thank you, David. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you to my beautiful partner, Beth. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a link, drop a comment below. Tell me how you felt about the presentation. Grab a spot on my calendar for let's have a chat. And if you're watching the recording on this, my link will stay in the comments. You can book a call with me at any time to discuss the Crafting Chieftains program, and we will talk about the next release date for the Crafting Chieftains group that you can be involved with. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I acknowledge it's 30 minutes over time, but I hope it's given you amazing value. I love and appreciate you all. Good night.